Bull Market Bulletin.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know, it feels like every time we look up, there's some crazy new headline about Bitcoin or crypto. So we got a ton of stuff to go through today. News expert opinions, market analysis, you name it.
Yeah, and what's really interesting to me is that we're not just talking about like Silicon Valley anymore, right? It feels like everyone's starting to notice crypto, like I'm talking about governments, big financial institutions, and even like everyday people.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all happening so fast, too. Like, just take a look at this brand new executive order on crypto from Trump. Signed just a few hours ago, it's aiming to make America the global leader in crypto and AI.
This executive order is a really big deal. It's not just for the U.S. either, but for like the whole crypto world. There's a few really important parts we need to break down. First off, it creates a working group to come up with some clear crypto regulations, something that the industry has been asking for forever. Then it talks about the possibility of a strategic national digital asset stockpile, basically a Bitcoin reserve for the U.S. government. And lastly, it totally rejects the idea of a central bank digital currency or CBDC.
Okay, hold on a second. Did you just say a Bitcoin strategic reserve? Like, is that even a thing?
Well, it's definitely gaining some serious traction. Even Senator Loomis, who's a huge crypto advocate, is pushing for it.
Whoa, imagine the government hoarding Bitcoin.
It just goes to show that Bitcoin is being seen as a super important asset, almost like digital gold in the eyes of some politicians. But let's not forget about how the market reacted right away to this executive order. Over $500 million of Bitcoin open interest was added in just hours.
Yeah, you can definitely feel the excitement in the air, especially with all those wild Bitcoin price predictions going around, right? One expert saying Bitcoin could hit $200,000 this year. Another says $500,000. Heck, some are even saying $700,000. Are we going to the moon or what?
Whoa. While all that sounds amazing, we got to remember that what goes up must come down. It's like a rocket. It can only go so high before it might explode. That's what they call a blow-off top. A crazy fast price surge that's not sustainable and usually followed by a painful crash. Don't forget, even with good news like this, executive order investing always has risks.
Okay, so maybe we shouldn't pack our bags for the moon just yet. But still, even if Bitcoin doesn't hit those crazy numbers right away, the potential for growth is insane, right?
For sure. One analysis gives Bitcoin a 56% chance of going over $114,000 in the next 30 days. That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
But it's just one prediction in a market that no one can predict. It's all about finding the right balance between being optimistic and realistic.
All right, that makes sense. But let's not forget about all the other crypto projects out there. We've talked a lot about Bitcoin, but what about altcoins? Are any of them worth paying attention to?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Lots of investors are hesitant about altcoins because, to be honest, they can be super risky and unpredictable. There are just so many of them out there that it's really hard to tell which ones are going to make it and which ones are going to flop.
Yeah, it's like finding a needle in a haystack. But what if some of those needles are right in front of us? I'm talking about the idea that Trump's crypto reserve might actually include altcoins like XRP Cardano and Hedera Hashgraph. That's what Mark Yusko, the CEO of Morgan Creek Capital, is suggesting.
That's really interesting. If the government is even thinking about adding altcoins to their portfolio, it could mean a huge shift in how people see them. These specific altcoins are already getting attention for their real-world uses, like XRP for quick international payments, or Cardano for building secure and decentralized applications.
And we can't forget about Eric Trump, who seems to be a pretty big crypto fan. Maybe the whole Trump family are secretly crypto whales behind the scenes.
Yeah, maybe that's going a little too far, but you got to admit it adds to the mystery.
For sure. These altcoins might be more of a gamble than Bitcoin, but with potential support from the government and their growing uses, they're definitely worth keeping an eye on.
All right, so let's switch gears for a second and talk about another big trend. All the institutional money pouring into Bitcoin through ETFs.
Yeah, ETFs are like a bridge for big institutions to get involved in Bitcoin without having to actually hold it themselves. It's a major sign that Bitcoin's becoming more legitimate, and it's likely to push prices up even more.
And the numbers are crazy. In just 1 year, Bitcoin ETFs have gathered a whopping 540,000 Bitcoin. That's almost 4% of all the Bitcoin out there. And it's only picking up speed with over $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin bought by ETFs in just 5 days. Remember all that talk about regular investors coming back to Bitcoin? Well, this is like that, but 1,000 times bigger. It's like a tsunami of institutional money heading straight for Bitcoin. And it's not just ETFs either. We're seeing banks starting to offer crypto services, payment processors, adding crypto payments, and investment firms launching crypto funds. This is mainstream adoption happening right before our eyes.
Man, it really feels like we're on the edge of something huge. All these different pieces are coming together and creating this incredible energy around crypto. But with all this buzz, I think it's important to pause for a second and really try to understand what's driving this whole crypto revolution.
I totally agree. It's so easy to get distracted by the headlines and all the price predictions. But the real story is the technology itself and its potential to completely change the financial world.
Okay, so let's dive into the tech side for a bit. What is it about blockchain that has everyone so excited?
Well, at its heart, blockchain is this totally new way to store and manage information. It's like a digital ledger that's spread across a bunch of computers, which makes it super secure and transparent. This means no single person or organization has control over it, and every transaction is trackable and can't be tampered with. That's a game changer for so many things, from finance to supply chains to even voting systems.
So basically, no more shady deals or hidden agendas. Everything's out in the open.
That's the idea. Transparency and accountability are built into the DNA of blockchain. And that's what's so exciting about it. It has the potential to create a system where everyone's on a level playing field.
Sounds pretty ideal. But let's bring it back down to earth for a minute. We talked about the executive order and this whole Bitcoin strategic reserve idea.
Well,
What are the real-world implications of that?
a key part of the executive order is setting up a working group to create a clear set of regulations for digital assets. This is a crucial step in bringing some stability and maturity to the crypto market.
Yeah, because right now it feels like the Wild West out there.
Exactly. And that lack of clear rules has been holding back a lot of big investors. They want to know what the rules are before they put in serious money.
So this working group is basically creating a rule book for crypto.
Pretty much. They'll be tackling some big questions like consumer protection, anti-money laundering measures, and the legal status of different crypto assets. This could pave the way for wider adoption and make it easier for crypto to become part of the mainstream financial system.
Okay, so let's fast forward a year. This rule book's in place now. What does the crypto world look like?
Well, I think we'd see a huge increase in investment, both from individuals and big institutions. Companies would be more comfortable building products and services based on crypto. And governments might even start using crypto for things like payments or keeping records.
Whoa, are we talking about a future where we're buying coffee with Bitcoin?
It's not that crazy of an idea. Some countries like El Salvador have already made Bitcoin legal tender. And with the U.S. taking a more active role in crypto, others might follow their lead.
That would be pretty wild. But let's stick with the U.S. for now. What about this Bitcoin strategic reserve? What would that look like in practice?
Think of it like the gold reserve, but for Bitcoin. The government would hold a large amount of Bitcoin as a strategic asset, maybe to protect against inflation as a store of value, or even as a tool in international finance.
But isn't that a big risk for the government? Bitcoin can be really volatile.
It's definitely a gamble.
Yeah.
And it's something the working group will have to consider carefully. They need to weigh the potential risks and rewards before making any suggestions.
Yeah, we don't want to see taxpayer money going down the drain because of a bad Bitcoin bet. But on the other hand, if it's done right, a Bitcoin reserve could be a genius move.
It's all about finding that sweet spot.
Uh-huh.
But no matter what happens with the Bitcoin reserve, the fact that it's even being discussed shows how far crypto has come.
It's a clear sign that things are changing and the old ways are being challenged. And speaking of challenges, let's talk about those other crypto projects, the altcoins. We've talked about the risks and the potential. But how do we even start to navigate that world?
It's a wild jungle out there. But remember, not all altcoins are created equal. There are some truly innovative projects with real uses and strong teams behind them. The key is to separate the good ones from the bad ones.
Okay, so how do we do that? What should we look for when we're trying to figure out if an altcoin is worth investing in?
Transparency is crucial. You want to know who's running the project, what their goals are, and how they plan to achieve them. A well-written white paper that explains the technology and the team's vision is a good sign.
And what about those projects that promise to make you rich overnight?
Run away. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Be careful of any project that guarantees crazy returns or claims to have a magical solution. Remember, there's no such thing as a free lunch, especially in the crypto world.
So basically, do your research and don't believe everything you hear.
It's exactly. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to crypto.
Well, I feel like we've learned a ton today. We've covered so much: the executive order, the idea of a Bitcoin strategic reserve, the rise of altcoins and stable coins, that whole DeFi movement and why it's so important. Do your research and diversify. Is there anything else we should talk about in this crypto deep dive?
I think we've hit all the major points. But there's one more trend worth mentioning: the growing connection between crypto and traditional finance. We talked about ETFs, but it goes beyond that.
Right, it seems like banks are finally starting to come around to crypto.
Exactly. We're seeing banks offering crypto services to their customers, payment processors, integrating crypto payments, and investment firms launching crypto-focused funds. The line between traditional finance and crypto is getting blurrier and blurrier.
So is crypto going to be completely absorbed by the mainstream financial system?
That's a hot topic in the crypto community. Some people believe that crypto should stay separate, a parallel system that challenges the way things are done now. Others think that integration is unavoidable and maybe even a good thing.
So we're at a crossroads.
Exactly. And only time will tell which path crypto takes.
Well, one thing's for sure, it's going to be an exciting ride. We're witnessing the birth of a new financial system, and the possibilities are endless. Man, even after all that, it feels like we've only just scratched the surface of crypto. But hey, don't worry, we've got you covered. We'll make sure you have access to all the stuff we looked at: news articles, expert opinions, market data, the whole shebang, so you can keep exploring on your own.
Yeah, think of it like your own treasure map to the crypto world. We pointed you in the right direction, now it's up to you to find the gold.
I love that. But before we send you off on your crypto adventure, let's take a minute to recap. What were the key takeaways from our deep dive today?
Sounds good. Let's crystallize those nuggets of wisdom so you can walk away with a clear understanding of what's happening in the crypto world and what it all means for you.
Okay, takeaway number one. Crypto is going mainstream. Trump's executive order the possibility of a U.S. government Bitcoin reserve. This isn't just fringe stuff anymore. It's a sign that the financial world is taking crypto seriously.
For sure. And that mainstream adoption is being fueled by a wave of institutional investment. We're talking billions of dollars flowing into Bitcoin through ETFs. And big players like banks and investment firms are starting to get involved. This isn't just a tech revolution anymore, it's a financial revolution.
And let's not forget about those price predictions. While Bitcoin might not hit the moon overnight, the potential for growth is definitely there. But remember, even with all this positive momentum, it's important to stay grounded, do your research, and manage your expectations.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's easy to get caught up in the hype, but never forget that every investment comes with risk. It's all about finding the right balance between optimism and caution.
Speaking of balancing acts, we also explored the world of altcoins, those challengers to Bitcoin's throne. From XRP's focus on payments to Cardano's platform for building applications, there's a whole universe of possibilities out there.
And while navigating that universe can seem daunting, remember the power of due diligence. Do your research, understand the technology, and look for projects with real-world applications and strong teams behind them. There are definitely some hidden gems out there, but you have to be willing to put in the work to find them.
And hey, who knows, maybe one of those altcoins will be the next Bitcoin.
Now you're thinking like a true crypto enthusiast. But remember, it's not just about finding the next big coin. It's about understanding the bigger picture, the shift that's happening in finance. The rise of stablecoins and DeFi is creating a more open and accessible financial system, one that gives power to individuals and challenges the old way of doing things.
It's like we're building a new financial reality right in front of our eyes.
Exactly. And the most exciting part is that we're all part of it.
It's been an awesome deep dive today. We've covered so much ground, from Trump's executive order to altcoins to the future of finance. But now it's time to wrap things up
And send you off with a final thought. The future of finance is being written right now, and the choices we make today will shape that future.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and never stop asking questions. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.
Bull Market Bulletin.